We are here with Mike Finnegan. We have been playing in his garage all week, making the square body Cummins,
The Scummins.
the Cummins.
It's time for Ask Finnegan. Questions from Instagram.
We sent out a call to our Instagram and Facebook, and so whatever you guys want to know, he's going to answer. We haven't told him any of these questions yet, so it's live.
I'll tell you all about my mother. Go ahead.
It's called Blindside Finnegan. All right, first one. This is from Sneaky X Beaver.
I hope that's a woman. Go ahead.
What changed Roadkill's mind? They did just a fuel pin and some pump work on the first gen. They're referring to the Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
But on this swap, they decided to go all out after talking bad about how bad the first 5.9 they used was.
Did we say it sucked? I think we said it sucked when it was stock because it sucked. I mean, it weighs a lot, and the Cadillac was incredibly slow. But if I remember correctly, as soon as we did the fuel pin, we didn't do the. I don't think we did the killer dowel because we didn't care. It was roadkill. But we did timing and the fuel pin, and then suddenly the car did burnouts, and that opened my eyes to how easy it is to make power with one of these. You know, we didn't have an intercooler or anything, and yeah, I was sold. Plus, I've been reading a lot for years about the fuel economy I could achieve with this thing, and then when you guys told me I could have fuel and fun, easy decision.
All right, next one. This is from Jeff's Quarton. I want to race my compound turbo 12 valve Fummins against Finnegan's compound turbo 12 valve Chummins.
Ooh, he's got a
He
Ford?
didn't say Scummins. He's got a Ford.
He's got a Ford.
At a zip tie drags event this year. Can we make this happen?
Yes.
Hashtag Purple Power. I assume he's an ATS fan. Unless Purple Power is some reference I didn't get.
No. I mean, that sounds thick. That's the purple transmission guys. Yeah. We could do that. I don't know. We just had a zip tie drags event, and obviously the race didn't go down there.
Yeah.
That was the one in Tucson in January. I don't know what the next one is. We did 4 of them last year, and I don't know how many we're doing this year. But if you and I are in the same place at the same time, my friend, I say we make this happen.
It's on.
Challenge accepted.
All right. This is from Bacon Creek Metal. This is a good friend of ours. His name's Scott. Scott F, we'll call him. He said, Todd's working with midgets, ...
Everywhere I go.
Anyone that stands next to you looks like they're vertically challenged, yes. Because that's what you say. You can't say midgets,
No,
dude. Come
no,
on.
It's terrible.
They don't like that. That's why
Okay.
dikes are alternative lifestyle pliers, okay? Get with the times. It's PC world now. Come on.
Okay, this is from Colcart D10. This is the guy that had a truck built by Welder Up with a Purple Power transmission in it, and we won't talk about what he's running now. but
Is
it's
half
not
of your
purple.
stuff like exploding out of the hood? That's the only way I can tell where it came
Colcart D10. He says, at Power Driven Diesel, at Finnegan999. He knows your Instagram handle.
from. Okay.
What did you do about the brake booster? Use the stock Dodge or question mark? I use the stock Dodge and it's ugly is what he said with an exclamation point.
Like
What did you
ugly,
do?
whenever you step your foot on the brake, it gets ugly, or it just looks ugly? Because we have the stock booster still in there, and although you can't tell from here because the engine's sitting here like a coffee table, it fits. Not by much, it fits. We have to relocate the fuel filter, but it does fit in there. The truck never stopped very good to begin with, so maybe we should do something about it. I don't know. I'm going to eyeball the bobtail out there's hydro boost setup, and maybe I robbed that. I don't know.
All right. This is from Momo 12 Valve. What transmission are you running in the ramp truck, and what was the most difficult part for the swap?
The most difficult part for the swap was probably getting the freight guy to show up on time with the parts, because these guys arrived right on time. We were ready to go, and then we basically kind of stood around for a little bit, stripped the bobtail of everything, and waited a little more for that transmission and those turbos to show up. So that was the most difficult part. This really wasn't that hard. We had to cut the firewall pretty good because I wanted to keep the mechanical fan and the stock Dodge radiator and the stock fan shroud, the stock intercooler. I wanted all that stuff up front so that if I broke down and any one of those service items was dead, I could go into a parts store and just get them. I didn't want a lot of custom stuff because I need this truck to be reliable. And so we purposely mounted this thing back, and the trans is up in the floor of the cab. You know, we cut a lot of the sheet metal back there to make all of this work up front, and it turned out great. I mean, we've got the stock radiator hoses, the stock charge tube right here. I mean, it's pretty sweet. You know, I would do this if I were you.
Recommended.
Yes.
Okay, this is kind of a low blow, but we're blindsided yet. This is from Shooting Zay, Z-A-Y. Maybe Shooting Gay? I don't know. Does Finnegan ever wear a non-flat bill cap?
No, for me, it's not a style thing. I have a giant head, and most hats just don't fit them, especially if they have a curved bill. And I don't know if you know this, if you take a curved bill hat, try and flatten it out, the hat looks funny, and it just goes back curved. So I just buy the flat ones, and there you go. It avoids headaches.
Okay, this is from American Muscle HD. He has
Okay.
1.5 million Instagram followers.
Yeah, he's kind of
So
a big deal,
He's
right?
speaking for a lot of people. He's a big deal
Okay. On the internet.
on the internet. What do you think it'll do in the quarter mile?
Let's see. It ran 1906, I think, at 69 miles an hour with 330 to the tires with that 454. You guys are saying this is going to make 600, 650, somewhere around there, and
The
1200.
potential is there. With this pump, I think we haven't really gone to the pump hardcore, but I think 600 is pretty reasonable.
So 600 at the crank or at the tires?
The tires.
Okay, 600 horsepower at the tires. What is that, 1,200 pound-feet of torque?
1200 would be pretty reasonable.
So we've tripled the torque,
We've also added a lockup converter.
doubled the horsepower, added a lockup converter, and it's just cool. But then we've also added a lot of weight.
We added an extra gear. It's got 4-speed now instead of 3-speed.
Yep. By the time it goes to the drag strip, I'll have a different axle in the back there with 373s instead of 410s. I think this thing could go 15s. I think that's possible. I think we could knock 4 seconds off TT.
Todd, what do you think it'll run?
I'm still really concerned about the traction, how long this vehicle is. I don't know how hard he could possibly launch. I don't know if he's going to be able to hook up in the first gear. It's really hard to say. He has dualies. The bed adds a lot of weight, so he's got a lot of weight over the back wheels.
I'm a hell of a driver, too.
And he's a really good driver. That makes a huge difference when you're spinning like crazy.
I've lost a lot of races on roadkill for various reasons that were not at all my fault. So, yeah, I got this. I don't know. What do you think? 15th?
What do we think the vehicle's going to weigh?
I think this thing, without all the tools in it and no car on the back, it's every bit of 8,000 pounds. So.
If it's 8,000 pounds, and if it's 8,000 pounds and you can hook it up, I think a 14-second pass is pretty easily done.
Ooh, that would be cool.
So, I mean, 8,000 pounds is not too heavy in the truck world. A lot of trucks are that heavy and they're going that fast. So I think if you can hook it up and get a decent start and not just blow the tires off with this long wheelbase, I think a 14-second pass happens pretty easy.
The price is right. Low 14s. That's what I'm going with. 14.2 or lower. I think if I was driving it, we could get a 13 out of it. But I would launch at 30 pounds of boost and put slicks on the back. That's just me. After the 1410, you join up.
I wouldn't put slicks on the back at all. I would just haul my car to the drag strip, run 8s in my race car, and then just put this right on the track without changing anything.
Just go.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to move along. We got a couple more here. This is Riley Drebeck. Kind of like Alex Trebek, but it's Riley Drebeck. What are some other plans for the ramp truck? Or is it done? P.S. Like both channels.
Well, thank you, Alex. Was it out? No, Riley. Sorry. Riley. What
He
are some
likes
plans?
both channels. I didn't even know what he was referring to. He
He's-
likes both channels.
I think he's talking about Finnegan's Garage and your channel.
Oh.
Yeah. Or Roadkill.
Thanks,
One or
Riley.
the other. What are some plans? Well, we ripped out all the stock air conditioning to fit this combo in there, so it'll need air conditioning. Moving to Georgia just accelerated the rust that was already on the truck, so it needs probably front fenders, doors, and at that point a paint job. The seats are pretty hammered, so it needs a lot of cosmetic stuff and a booming system in it, because that's how I like to roll.
Okay, you'll like this guy. He's Lake Life 12V. 12 valve, I assume.
Nice.
So he's a diesel guy and he likes the lake.
He's got good hobbies.
What's the buildup on the motor exactly?
I don't know.
We may handle this one a little better. So this engine's basically stock with some good upgrades. The crank, the whole bottom end, the short block's all stock. Didn't touch it. Except we did O-ring the block. So when we can have better combustion containment with increased cylinder pressure. We have our stage 1 push rods in this. We upgraded the valve springs. It's got the ARP 625 head stud, so this head gasket should really hold really well. As far as engine's concerned, I think that's the only upgrades to the motor itself. After that, it's all fueling components. We've upgraded the delivery valves. We got a set of 5x14 fuel injectors. And this is our ultimate towing turbo system, reworked to fit in the square body Scummins.
We also bumped the timing to 24 degrees.
Times at 24 degrees.
Yeah.
Hot rod lift pump.
Yes.
AFC line, give it some more fuel at the pump, but basic bolt-on mods.
Yep.
And a transmission that should stand up to it.
Exactly. Yeah, that tranny should live a good long life behind this thing. Okay.
Next. Essentially, it's got twin turbskis. That's what you really ought to know.
That's it.
But they're compound. You can't call them twins according to the internet. Even though there's 2 of them, I know they don't match. I just like saying twin turbskis. Compound doesn't just roll off the tongue.
Okay, Phil Ziegler is the next. He has a lot of questions.
Okay.
We're just going to quickly go through them.
All right.
Was the rear end changed or re-geared yet?
No.
No.
Stock
But will
rear
it be?
end with wore out drum brakes. It will get a rear end out of a 2013 Chevy van that had a Duramax in it. It's got disc brakes, 373s, and sadly an open diff, but that'll go in.
His next question, is the old big block cooling system up to the task of cooling a compound Cummins?
I didn't know the answer to that, but I just assumed no, so I took it out. And we kept the stock 97 Dodge Ram radiator and intercooler.
That answered the next question, what kind of intercooler setup was used? The stock. Did the PDD compound setup fit without modifications in the Chevy setup? Todd could answer that. No.
No, we had to modify. We did not fit the same way. We couldn't come the way we normally do because the hood's lower. The square body Chevy were not intelligent enough to make room in the hood for twin turbos, and so we had to actually remake the turbo system.
You keep talking smack on the Scummins, man.
So
Come
compound
on,
turbos fit better in a second-gen Dodge?
Ours do, but these actually fit pretty well. There's a ton of room on the side. If we want to go crazy later, if we can talk them into it, there may be some more upgrades in the future. We'll
This
see.
fits just fine.
It does fit good.
All you had to do was move the turbo closer to the engine block.
We did, which we didn't have to do. The only reason we did that was for your air conditioning box. Once we took that out, we could have
We had
left it.
tons of room.
So it fits just fine, and you don't have to put a pry bar under the cowl of the truck to get the engine in and out.
That's true. You just
Unlike
you just
the
have-
hideous
you just have to cut a big dang
second-gen
hole.
Ram, of which he's way too in love with.
All
First
right.
truck ever made.
What
Sort of.
mounts were used in this
As long as you're not
considering
looking at it, sure.
what mounts were used in this considering this is well over stock output setup?
So it has a couple of adapters from dieselconversions.com, and they're beefy. They're half-inch thick plate welded to 3/16 uprights that adapt to the stock biscuits to the Chevy frame rails, and the biscuits are aftermarket ones, which I think might have polyurethane rubber in there.
They're red. They look pretty stiff.
Yeah, red I think means poly, depending on where you live. And that's it. It dropped right down on the stock cross member. Putting it there shoves the motor really far back, which is why we had to cut the firewall. If you were to shove it forward and move the cross member forward, you could have put it in there without cutting the firewall, but then you would have had to throw away the mechanical fan and get an aftermarket radiator and fan and no shroud. Just for a whole bunch of reasons, we decided to just mount it using these mounts on the stock cross member in the stock location.
All right. He's got a couple questions here really quick. Any frame strengthening to cope with the extra torque?
No, I've read about people doing that, plating the C-channel frame, and I looked at it and I thought, I'm just going to run it and see what happens. I don't think it's going to be an issue.
I mean, Dodge boxed their frame for no reason. They're stupid. So from the second gen.
What do they know?
What do they know? What do they know about compound turbos anyways?
No, what do they know about a Scummins? See, it's different. Because the Chevy is inherently better and stronger to begin with, so they probably didn't need to box.
So a C-channel Chevy can handle 1,200 foot-pounds, but a box Dodge frame could only handle 420
Right,
foot-pounds.
right. I mean, that's why they build ramp trucks
Sounds
out of
legit.
these things.
Right.
It's been a ramp truck for like 30 years. Still there.
Still around.
Yeah, car hasn't fallen off yet.
He also asks, is the Hydro Boost converted setup or using the Cummins vacuum vacuum pump? We can answer that. Yes, we're going to use the Cummins vacuum pump to run the vacuum-assisted brakes on the Chevy.
Unless they suck, then he's going to change
Yeah,
it.
we're going to try it.
If they suck, then we're going Hydro Boost.
I mean, honestly, I've never had the wheels off this truck, so I don't know if the reason the brakes suck is there's no linings left in the back or, there's no pads left in the front. I honestly don't know.
Do the brake lines even run to the rear? We don't even know if there's brake power back there, do we?
We don't. I know the truck stops if you try hard enough. You just better plan well in advance when you want to stop.
And the last question, did the truck retain its air conditioning?
No. I mean, it's well ventilated now. Half the firewall's gone, but no air conditioning.
On a side note, before you go on, in that first question, he answered that right now. The gearing he's putting in is an open diff. If he gets the drag strip before he changes the open diff, I would retract my 14-second quarter-mile time and instead predict a quarter-mile burnout.
That's a good point. I don't know. There's so much weight on the back of this truck that, the one time I did a burnout at the drag strip with it, we had to hose the tires to get them to spin, and then it just spun the right side. But I've thought about putting 355s in the back and some sort of limited slip or something, and maybe I'll do that before we go to the drag strip.
It will help.
All right, new question. We're getting right to the end of the Instagram. This is from Get_Focused. What did you use for a tack pickup? Did you run it to existing tack in the dash?
So the stock gauge cluster in this thing, most of the gauges didn't work in it, and I have a buddy that works at Classic Instruments, and they have a new line of gauges that are a direct replacement for this dashboard, and they can set them up pretty much any way you want. And according to them, I'm going to be able to tap into, I think, the white wire on the stock crank pickup, and that will give you my tack signal. So, cross my fingers. They also set it up for everything else we want, boost and, EGT. So,
Trans temp, that kind of stuff.
Trans temp, yep. So, should be cool.
Okay, new question. This is the last guy. He has 2 sets of questions, so I'll try to summarize them. This is from Set_Medic, so Set Medic. How about accessories and accessory drive? All Dodge components? Looks like Dodge components to me.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I've got to figure out is air conditioning, and I'm debating whether or not to use the stock Dodge bracket and compressor, which I don't have because this truck never had, or the Ram never had air conditioning, the one I bought. And I'm debating whether or not to use it because it's low mount and it puts it right inside the frame rail. And I'm either going to do that or make my own mount and move it up top. I've seen some people do that. But one way or another, I will have air conditioning because this is Georgia, and during the summer, it's hot here. Very sweaty. I'm hairy. You don't want to see a sweaty mic. It's just not a good look.
Alternator, how are we making the alternator work?
Oh, dude, you found a nifty little adapter to convert it to one wire on the interwebs. We bought it off Amazon. It was like $20 to convert the stock alternator to one wire. How many amps does that thing put out?
About 100, I think 90, between 90 and 105. It just depends on
It's perfect. There's no electronics in this thing, so that'll work.
plenty of juice.
No electric fuel pump? Nothing.
Let's look here. Did you use the... Oh, he's talking about Hydro Boost. We already answered that. What about gauges? Dodge gauges? No, he's using the Chevy Classic Instruments. Here's the end, the last one. Now that you're done, can you guys drive an hour south of where you are near the airport and come help me with my swap? Hey?
How do you know where we're at? That's
I didn't
freaky.
tell him.
You didn't
I
turn
told
off
him.
location when you started posting all those photos, did you?
No, there's no location. I told them we were in Atlanta, and then somebody asked. I said, we're an hour away from Atlanta, and they figured out, apparently.
Oh, okay.
All right, we got some more questions on Facebook, but we got to wrap this video up. We're going to be coming out here again to actually get this thing running. And so when we come back out, we'll answer the Facebook questions and do another Q&A because there's some pretty fun questions I'm excited to ask Mike. Him.